Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth so powerful, so radiant, that if you dare to speak it with conviction every hour of your day, words shape reality because they are more than just sounds that fall from our lips. They are carriers of thought, energy, and intention. Every spoken word carries with it a vibration that moves outward into the unseen, planting seeds in the soil of life. When you speak, you are not merely expressing what you see, you are commanding what will be. The mind forms thoughts, but words are the bridge that takes those thoughts into the outer world, where they begin to manifest in tangible form. What you repeatedly declare, with conviction and emotion, molds the circumstances that surround you. Life responds not to empty wishes, but to spoken decrees backed by faith, because words carry the creative power that shapes the structure of your reality. When you speak with faith, words become instruments of creation. Consider the difference between saying, "I am always struggling," and "I am divinely guided to success." The first statement closes the door to possibility, while the second opens the gates for opportunity. Words form images in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious then works tirelessly to make those images real. Negative words impress limitations upon the mind and attract more of the same, while positive, faith-filled words build a mental atmosphere of expectancy that naturally draws fulfillment. Your words are not mere descriptions of your world, they are prescriptions for your world. Each declaration is like a blueprint handed over to the universe, and the universe simply builds according to what you provide. Many people underestimate the subtle power of casual speech, but even idle words carry weight. To say "I can't" again and again weakens the will, while saying "I can" and "I will" strengthens resolve and draws resources into alignment. The tongue is a tool of creation or destruction, depending on how it is used. Fear-filled speech sows discord, while faith-filled speech brings harmony. When you complain, you magnetize more things to complain about. When you give thanks and declare abundance, you magnetize more reasons for gratitude and abundance. The law is impartial. It reflects whatever is spoken with belief, whether positive or negative. Words also shape reality because they shape your internal atmosphere. When you speak words of fear, your body responds with tension, your mind with anxiety, and your spirit with unease. But when you speak words of peace and faith, your body relaxes, your mind clears, and your spirit lifts. This inner alignment becomes reflected in your outer circumstances. In this way, words are not only commands to the universe, but also nourishment to the self. They set the tone for your emotions, decisions, and actions, which together weave the fabric of your destiny. Speaking words of courage in the face of difficulty creates a resilience that turns obstacles into stepping stones. Another dimension to this truth is that words spoken with persistence create momentum. Saying a declaration once may plant a seed, but saying it over and over again waters it and gives it the force to grow. Repetition is how the subconscious accepts a truth, and once the subconscious accepts it, it begins to direct the outer world toward its realization. This is why affirmations are so powerful, not because the words themselves are magic, but because they impress the mind until the mind shapes reality according to them. When you repeat words of faith, you are not begging for change, you are commanding it into form. To understand that words shape reality is to take responsibility for every utterance. It means no longer speaking carelessly about failure, lack, or fear, because such words will return multiplied. Instead, it means choosing words that align with the vision of the life you wish to live, words that affirm health, abundance, joy, and peace. Each declaration is a seed, and every seed grows into a harvest. By mastering your speech, you master your reality. Hourly affirmation of power is the practice of aligning your mind and speech with divine truth throughout the day, not just once in the morning or before rest at night. Life moves in moments, and each moment carries the potential to shift the direction of your reality. When you affirm every hour, you do not allow fear, doubt, or negative impressions to gain momentum. You interrupt the cycle of worry before it grows strong, and instead you plant seeds of faith and power consistently. Just as water sustains a plant, hourly affirmation sustains your spirit, reminding you of the truth of who you are and the unseen forces working for your good. The power of repetition is profound. When you speak a declaration once, it can inspire you in the moment, but when you speak it repeatedly throughout the day, you engrave it upon your subconscious. The subconscious does not resist repetition, it accepts it as truth. By hourly affirmation, you train the subconscious to release fear and to act in harmony with divine law. You become attuned to success, health, peace, and abundance because you are constantly impressing these realities upon your inner world. Every hour becomes a moment of recentering, a deliberate act of alignment, a reminder that you are not a victim of chance, but a co-creator with divine intelligence. Saying an affirmation hourly also disciplines the wandering mind. Left unchecked, the mind often drifts into worry, replaying past failures or imagining future difficulties, but when you set a rhythm of affirmations, you guide the mind like a shepherd guiding sheep. You reclaim authority over thought by replacing fear with faith, doubt with certainty, and chaos with order. This rhythm gradually reshapes your inner atmosphere, and soon, peace and confidence become your natural state. The external world begins to mirror this inner shift, and what once seemed difficult now flows with greater ease. One of the great benefits of hourly affirmation is that it transforms ordinary time into sacred time. Instead of letting hours slip away filled with idle talk or unconscious thought, you infuse each hour with intention. Imagine working, traveling, or even resting with the quiet rhythm of affirmations shaping your thoughts. This steady stream of faith-filled words builds a magnetic field around you, drawing in opportunities, solutions, and blessings that match the vibration of your declaration. Life begins to organize itself in your favor because you are constantly broadcasting a message of divine alignment and power. Hourly affirmation also acts as a shield against negativity. The world is filled with voices of fear, doubt, and limitation. News, conversations, and even your own memories can try to drag you into despair. But when you have trained yourself to affirm every hour, negativity cannot take deep root. Each affirmation becomes a cleansing wave, washing away lower vibrations and restoring the truth. You are reminded that what is truly yours cannot be taken, that divine timing cannot be delayed, and that every circumstance bends toward your good. It is important to understand that the effectiveness of hourly affirmation lies not only in the words but in the spirit with which they are spoken. To recite words mechanically brings little change, but to speak them with faith, gratitude, and expectation ignites their power. Each repetition should be spoken as though it is already true, for in the unseen realm it already is. The universe responds to certainty, not desperation. When you affirm hourly with calm authority, you are not asking for blessings to come. You are acknowledging that they are already on their way. The discipline of hourly affirmation may feel small, but its effects are vast. A single affirmation spoken in the morning can lift you for a while, but hourly affirmations create a current so strong that your entire life begins to flow in harmony with divine order. It is like adjusting your compass again and again so that you remain on course, no matter what distractions or detours appear. By choosing to affirm every hour, you declare to life itself, I am aligned, I am guided, I am provided for, and nothing can oppose the good that belongs to me. This steady declaration transforms your inner world, and as your inner world transforms, your outer world must follow. Ask ChatGPT. Faith-filled decrees create miracles because they are not mere words, but spiritual commands spoken with authority and conviction. A decree is more than a wish or a request. It is a declaration that what is spoken is already established in the unseen and must manifest in the seen. When faith fills a decree, it carries the force of belief, and belief is the energy that turns invisible possibility into visible reality. Miracles are not accidents or rare occurrences. They are the natural outcome of aligning the spoken word with unwavering faith. The universe is governed by spiritual laws, and one of the greatest is that what you decree with faith must eventually take form. When you declare with faith, you do not plead, you do not beg, and you do not doubt. You speak as one who knows that the unseen power backing your words is greater than any obstacle before you. This knowing transforms ordinary speech into a decree, a command that sets divine order into motion. For instance, To say with trembling hope, "I wish for healing," may stir emotion but carries little power. But to say with authority, "I am whole, perfect, and restored now," spoken with faith, plants the seed of wholeness into your body, mind, and spirit, and begins to summon every condition necessary for healing. Faith transforms words into vessels of creation, and through them, the miraculous becomes possible. The miracle lies not in the words themselves, but in the belief that animates them. Without faith, words are empty sounds, but when spoken with faith, they carry the vibration of certainty, which is irresistible to universal law. Faith-filled decrees bypass fear, silence doubt, and anchor you in truth. They act as spiritual magnets, drawing circumstances, people, and resources that align with the decree. Miracles happen because faith does not look at appearances. It looks beyond them. Where the mind sees limitation, faith declares possibility. Where the world sees lack, faith decrees abundance. Where circumstances appear immovable, faith speaks movement. The decree pulls from the invisible storehouse of supply, and the miracle is the delivery of that supply into visible form. Faith-filled decrees also create miracles because they shift the inner atmosphere. The moment you speak words of faith, your spirit lifts, your thoughts clear, and your emotions align with hope. This inner alignment is what prepares the way for external transformation. You begin to act as though the miracle is already in motion, and your actions align with your declarations. For example, one who decrees prosperity with faith begins to think and act with abundance, which naturally attracts opportunities. The decree is not just spoken into the air, it is sown into the soil of the subconscious, and the subconscious tirelessly brings forth its harvest. The miracle is the result of this invisible process unfolding into tangible experience. Another profound truth is that faith-filled decrees call forth divine timing. They do not force or rush, but they affirm that what is needed comes exactly when it is meant to. A decree such as, "All that is mine by divine right now flows to me with ease and perfect timing," spoken hourly, builds a momentum that clears delays and dissolves resistance. Faith is the assurance that the unseen order is already in place, and the decree is the key that unlocks its appearance. Miracles happen because you no longer live from desperation or striving, but from calm authority and trust. Every miracle recorded throughout history has been preceded by a word of faith. Whether it was healing spoken into existence, provision commanded into being, or obstacles declared dissolved, the common element was a decree filled with unshakable faith. The same principle applies today. When you decree with faith, you are participating in the eternal law of creation. You are aligning your spoken word with divine intelligence that already knows the path of fulfillment. The miracle is not something outside of you. It is the natural response of life to the certainty of your faith. To live with this understanding is to guard your words carefully and to ensure they are always clothed in faith. Never speak idly about failure or impossibility, for those words too will seek to create. Instead, decree what you desire as though it is already done. Decree health, decree abundance, decree peace, decree victory, and let your faith carry those words into manifestation. Each faith-filled decree plants a seed in the field of the unseen, and when the time is right, the harvest will be nothing less than miraculous. Fear vs. faith in speech is the constant battle between two forces that shape the atmosphere of your life. Every word you speak carries either the vibration of fear or the vibration of faith, and whichever dominates will determine the experiences you attract. Speech is never neutral because it reflects the condition of your inner world. When fear speaks, it reinforces limitation, doubt, and lack. When faith speaks, it affirms power, abundance, and divine order. The universe does not choose sides, it simply mirrors back to you the tone of your words. If fear dominates your speech, you unconsciously call forth the very outcomes you dread. If faith dominates, you magnetize blessings, solutions, and opportunities. Fear-based speech is usually subtle, clothed in everyday expressions that sound harmless but carry destructive power. Phrases like, "I can't afford that," "I never get lucky," or "things never work out for me," may seem casual, but each one is a seed of limitation sown into the subconscious. The subconscious accepts whatever it hears repeatedly, whether true or false, and begins to create conditions that match those words. Fear in speech weakens the will, drains courage, and blocks the flow of abundance. It ties you to circumstances instead of freeing you to rise above them. Even jokes made in fear or sarcasm carry creative force, for the universe does not filter humor from seriousness. It simply responds to what is spoken with energy. On the other hand, faith-filled speech is charged with life. It speaks not of what the eyes see, but of what the spirit knows to be true. To say, everything in my life is working for my highest good, even in the midst of chaos, is to plant a seed of divine order that must eventually bear fruit. Faith-filled words carry the vibration of confidence and certainty, and this vibration attracts circumstances that align with it. When you speak with faith, you rise above appearances and declare the unseen reality that is waiting to unfold. Faith in speech does not ignore challenges, but it refuses to give them authority. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," faith declares, "I am guided to my next step." Instead of saying, "I'll never recover," faith proclaims, "My body is healing and restoring in divine perfection." Every time you choose faith over fear in speech, you rewrite the script of your life. The great danger of fear-based speech is that it multiplies itself. Speaking words of fear creates more fear, which then inspires more words of fear, trapping you in a cycle. But faith-filled speech also multiplies. Speaking words of faith creates confidence, which inspires more affirmations of faith, creating an upward spiral. This is why being conscious of your words is vital. The tongue is like a rudder, small but powerful enough to steer the entire ship of your life. If it is directed by fear, it steers you towards storms. If it is directed by faith, it guides you into calm waters and abundant shores. Fear and faith cannot coexist in the same utterance. To say, "I believe, but I'm afraid it won't happen," is to cancel the very decree you have made. Faith requires authority and conviction, while fear thrives on hesitation and doubt. The task, then, is to become a guardian of your speech, refusing to give voice to fear and deliberately choosing to speak faith even when emotions resist. This discipline is not denial but alignment. It is the conscious choice to let your words match the truth of divine order rather than the illusions of limitation. Ultimately, the battle of fear vs. faith in speech is a battle for creation itself. Every word is a seed, and every seed produces after its kind. Speak fear, and you grow a harvest of obstacles. Speak faith, and you grow a harvest of miracles. The difference between bondage and freedom, lack and abundance, defeat and victory, is often no more than the difference between words of fear and words of faith. The authority of the tongue is one of the greatest powers given to every human being, yet it is often overlooked or underestimated. The tongue is small in size but immense in influence, shaping destinies, creating opportunities, and determining the atmosphere of life. Every word spoken carries energy, and that energy builds, directs, and molds reality. To understand the authority of the tongue is to realize that speech is never idle. It is always either building up or tearing down, blessing or cursing, attracting or repelling. The words you speak become the commands by which the universe organizes itself around you, for language is not only a tool of communication, but also a tool of creation. The tongue carries authority because it gives sound to thought. A thought may remain within, but when it is spoken aloud, it gains strength and direction. Words take what is invisible and give it form, planting it in the fertile ground of the subconscious mind and sending it into the field of the universe to bear fruit. A person who continually declares lack, struggle, or limitation is unknowingly authorizing those very conditions to dominate their life. Conversely, one who continually speaks abundance, peace, and strength is authorizing life to bring forth those experiences. The tongue grants permission for what you will live through, because every word is a decree that either binds you or sets you free. This authority is also evident in the way words influence emotions and actions. When you say, "I cannot do this," you weaken your own willpower, closing the door to possibility. When you say, "I can and I will," you awaken courage and stir determination within, empowering yourself to act with confidence. Words create the climate of the mind, and that climate determines what seeds will grow. The authority of the tongue means you hold within your speech the ability to call forth strength when you feel weak, joy when you feel sorrowful, and clarity when you feel lost. You do not wait for conditions to change before you speak to change the conditions. The tongue also holds authority because it has the power to influence not only the self but others. Words of encouragement can lift a weary soul, ignite hope, and spark vision, while words of criticism or despair can crush spirit and extinguish dreams. Leaders, teachers, parents, and friends carry immense responsibility because their words can shape the destiny of those who hear them. To say to a child, "You are capable and gifted," sets them on a path of confidence, while to say, "You will never succeed," plants doubt that may linger for years. This shows that the tongue does not merely influence personal reality, but can direct the realities of others as well. The authority of the tongue is magnified when combined with faith. A word spoken with doubt may falter, but a word spoken with conviction becomes a spiritual decree. Faith adds weight and substance to words, making them irresistible to the laws of creation. When you declare, "I am guided, I am protected, I am provided for," with unwavering faith, life begins to align with those declarations. The authority of the tongue is like a key, and faith is the hand that turns it. Together, they open doors to miracles, blessings, and divine order. Because of this authority, speech must be guarded carefully. Idle words, careless jokes, and constant complaints may seem harmless, but each one is a seed that will grow in time. To use the authority of the tongue wisely is to refuse to give power to fear and negativity, and instead to consistently affirm what is noble, uplifting, and true. To master your speech is to master your reality, for the tongue sets the direction of life, just as a rudder sets the direction of a ship. Where the tongue goes, life follows. Recognizing this truth awakens responsibility but also great empowerment, for it means that you already possess within you the authority to rewrite your future, reshape your present, and rise above every limitation through the words you choose to speak. You are the director, not the drifter, because life was never designed to be a random sequence of accidents where you are tossed about by chance and circumstance. Within you lies the power to set the tone, choose the vision, and guide the outcome of your days. To drift is to let outside forces dictate your destiny, to let moods, fears, and the opinions of others control your path, but to direct is to step into your rightful authority, taking conscious command of your thoughts, words, and actions. A director does not wait passively for events to unfold. A director designs, instructs, and shapes the scene. You are not at the mercy of chaos, for the same intelligence that governs the stars has placed within you the ability to align your life with order, purpose, and abundance. Every moment presents you with a choice, to drift with the tide of appearances or to direct with the compass of intention. When you drift, you are carried by fear, doubt, and external conditions, always reacting and never creating. But when you direct, you call forth what you desire and align yourself with divine law. The director within you says, "This is the script of my life," and speaks it with authority. Drifting says, "Whatever happens, happens," while directing says, "I declare the highest good in every area of my life, and I command my steps to align with it." One posture hands your power over to circumstance. The other claims your power and directs circumstance to obey. Being the director means understanding that your inner world writes the script of your outer world. The drifting soul blames the economy, the weather, or other people for its troubles, forgetting that all power begins within. The directing soul turns inward, shapes thought, guards words, and chooses actions that mirror its vision. You do not drift into abundance, health, or peace. You direct them into being by aligning your faith, your affirmations, and your choices with divine order. Just as a film director envisions the final scene long before the actors perform it, you must envision your desired outcome long before it materializes. That vision becomes the guiding light, and your words and deeds become the tools that bring it into form. Drifting may feel easier in the moment because it requires no discipline, but it comes with the heavy cost of confusion, stagnation, and regret. A drifter is like a ship without a rudder, tossed wherever the winds blow, never reaching a meaningful destination. But the director knows where the ship is headed, and even if storms arise, the course is adjusted and progress continues. To be the director is not to live without challenges, but to navigate them with clarity and purpose, refusing to let them define the story. The authority to direct your life does not come from force but from faith. You direct not by controlling others or manipulating outcomes, but by commanding your own inner alignment. You speak affirmations of truth hourly, you hold fast to vision even when appearances contradict it, and you choose words that carry faith instead of fear. Life bends to the authority of one who knows their role as director. Opportunities appear, obstacles dissolve, and divine timing unfolds because your inner command has set the tone. Every great achievement, every remarkable transformation began with someone who refused to drift and chose instead to direct. They decided, "This is who I am, this is where I am going, and nothing outside of me can steal what is mine by divine right." To live as the director is to understand that you are not helpless, you are not random, and you are not powerless. You are the one who calls forth the vision, speaks the word, holds the faith, and takes the step. The universe responds not to drifting, but to direction, not to passivity, but to authority. To direct is to live with intention, purpose, and confidence, knowing that your script is already written in divine perfection, and your task is simply to direct it into reality through faith-filled thought, word, and action. Ask ChatGPT tools